It is time to begin. Guests and members, join in. To all of you who joined the meeting, we extend our warmest greeting. Every month we meet on Fridays, just the first and the third. We prepare inspiring speeches and enjoy the spoken word. After every presentation, we provide evaluation. With the best intent, just to help our members grow. Dear guests, please be prepared. You may also be called on. Everybody should contribute to Table Topics Marathon. Whether you are guest or member, we will ask you to remember your cell phones should be muted and the ether not polluted with the sounds of feisty pets. And there is one more request. Your unnecessary actions can be looked at as distractions. Let them stay behind the scene. For a while, turn off the screen. But as soon as you are done, turn the camera back on. We would like to see your faces. Has everybody taken places? Our president, Sandra Savage, charming, humorous, and more, cannot wait to take the floor.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you all for coming today. We're going to have a great lineup, a full agenda, and we have a few guests with us. Let's go into, I'm going to switch my mode so I can see everyone right now. And let's welcome a few people who I have not met before. And I want to start with Joan. Could you tell us where you're coming from and a little bit about you?
Hi, thank you for having me today. I come from Los Angeles. I've been in Toastmasters for 23 years, and I am a past international director. And just got finished hosting the 100th anniversary Toastmasters convention. I'm very happy to be here and to meet all of you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And as more guests come in, we'll find an appropriate time to make sure that they are welcomed warmly and enjoy our meeting. I will drop in all of the background, the agenda and so forth as new people come in. Does everybody have the agenda? I'll send that out again. With that, I want to let you know that our club is now up to distinguished status for members. I'm hoping our newest member joins us today, Carmel, and if she does, we'll introduce her to all of you. But the gist of the meeting is going to be managed by our Toastmaster of the day, Judith Ferber. Judith?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So our theme today was grief and gratitude. Now, I must admit, this is not the topic that I would easily choose, but I have been having this grief ever since I had this election on which I worked for the last 3 months as a volunteer. So I was trying to think what I am going to do with this. So I know that gratitude comes after grief. I'm trying to look for one. So it took a while to figure this out, where I am actually finding a little sunshine in my total depression for the last week. So then I thought about this saying that I've known a long time. Then if somebody I asked if my cup is half full or half empty, my response is, I have a cup. And that's exactly how I feel. I am working on the gratitude and looking at the positive part of this whole experience that I was having for the last 3 months. And I am sure I will hear some wonderful thoughts from some of you out there. And that is my thoughts for the beginning of this meeting. I will probably come up with something more interesting as it goes on. Anyway, so we have our 3 wonderful prepared speeches, but before we start, let's see the functionaries. Kathy Choice, would you please put your reaction hand on so then everybody will see you where the timer is? See if I can find her. Where is she? Anyway, we don't know where she is.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the reaction to react like I would like for it to.
Okay. So there it is. You click on those things and you find.
I understand what to do.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So then let's hear from a Zoom master. John is our Zoom master. What are you doing, John?
Highlighting people as they speak. So I'll highlight speakers and evaluators, and we just snap evaluations. I'll try to quickly get those people together on the screen.
Okay, thank
Thank
you. John White is our general evaluator.
Thank you for your opening thoughts. Yes, I too have a cup. It has been empty. It has been full and overflow with. It's somewhere in between there. Thank you for that. I'm grateful for that. Grateful to be here. We have prepared speeches. We have evaluations, and I will oversee the portion of that meeting where we have evaluations and functionary reports that come at the second part of the meeting. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you. Trudy is our word of the day grammarian archunter. Trudy, please tell us about your role and the word of the day.
Yes, I will first tell you about let me just greet everybody first. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and guests. My duty today is to be the grammarian, and that my responsibility is to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my duty to introduce a word of the day. That was kind of a difficult one to choose. Same way, half full cup, or overflowing cup. I don't think anybody has overflowing cup yet, depending on your mood or where you were at in the last week or so. But I choose a word that probably could bring some enthusiasm to the hearts of people. And the word that I choose is jig. You know what a jig is? A jig is a dance. So you have to move yourself in the position where you see joy in life. Let all the whatever put you in the bad mood that you didn't have, or in a disposition that you have an empty cup, or you empty your cup and then you want to refill it with new energy, drink that you can drink. So a jig is a lively dance with leaping movements. And I prepared this the last time when we were having a Thanksgiving, and then I see this one here, the new theme, and the new theme is grief and attitude. So I said, I combined them, a family gathering at Thanksgiving or after a great meeting or a depressing meeting is to come together. And have you ever heard of the pole dance? And dance around the pole where you put all the negative and positive together, and eventually you can jig together and be happy. So the word is jig, and jig it up the way you want. Back to you.
Thank you. Jig it is. Well,
Jig it is.
well, it's a good word.
I don't know. It's a short word, but use it.
It's always nice to have some word that is out of the ordinary. So we
Yeah.
will try to work with that. So we have a little changes in our lineup of the speakers. So our first speaker is Rosie Flaherty, and her evaluator is Michael Schaefer. So Michael, say a few words about her speech, please.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dignitaries. I will be evaluating Rosie's speech today, the objectives of which are to have a podcast design created, creating interesting content and organize a cohesive program. You learn how to record and upload to the internet. And this project is for your own research to record a minimum of 60 minutes of content, and you're free to divide the episodes as you choose. Each separate episode must be at least 10 minutes, but maybe longer if it fits your topic and style. And after you record all that content, you play a 5 to 10 minute segment in your club and introduce the segment in a 2 to 3 minute speech.
Thank you, Michael. Rosie Flaherty is a certified public accountant. I'm trying to read this.
Excuse me, what is the time for this speech?
That's a good question. What is the time of your speech, Rosie?
So this speech, I know Michael did mention about that. I'm going to introduce about this podcast and then show the podcast. But because I have been doing this podcast for over 2 years, so I tweaked a little bit that I'm going to talk about this podcast instead of sharing or showing the podcast. And so I will stay with the 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this is, let's see, the audience, let's go say, give the audience some background, pretending we are in the accounting conference and we are talking about how to attract more people to the CPA certified public accountant's career. Please welcome Rosie Flaherty.
I create this podcast, CPA Career Path, for about 2 years ago in the podcast platform. But I have been doing this platform in YouTube for about 5 years. People normally come to me and ask, Rosie, why did you do this? You are so busy being a CPA already. Why do you do podcast? And why do you do that for 5 years? So in this speech today, I'm going to share the reason why I create this podcast and why I'm doing this for such a long time. Even I'm very busy with the tax deadline, busy with talking with the clients, busy dealing with all the staffs, managing people at the firm. But doing this podcast is my hobby, and I'm very excited to share about my story about this CPA Career Path podcast. Let's talk about why I started this podcast. Let's go back about 5 years ago when I just started my first job in public accounting as an auditor. Keep in mind that before I start in public, I already worked in private accounting for 5 years. And I worked 5 years for 5 different companies. And I did not like to jump that often, but because of my student visa, I have to keep going back to school to maintain my student visa. So I hit college the moment I graduated. I said I would never, ever, ever step my foot in any universities, any college anymore after I graduate. But then at my first job in public accounting, this manager, she came to me, not first, not twice, 3 times. 3 times she came to me and told me that, Rosie, you very good at talking to people. Maybe you should talk to students. And I was like, no, I don't want to go back to college. I don't want to even have a thought about going back to college, even just to say hi, even just to talk to students. No. But the fourth time she came to me and I feel like I really like her. And maybe I just did this for her. Not for me, just for her, to just make her happy. So I went to college for that student section, talk about the CPA career, talk about why we should consider accounting major, why we should consider being a CPA. And oh my God, it was amazing. It was awesome. I had a great time talking to students and I was like, wow, I should do it again and again and again. So I ended up doing every single student sections. For that season from September to this December is probably like 10 sections. And I enjoyed every single moment. And I was like, students asked a lot of questions and some of the questions are the same. And I was like, what if I just make a video and share this video with students? And so so more people can have this knowledge without me going out there and talk to every single classroom. So that's why I create the CPA career path YouTube. But I was like, my English is not that good. So what if I just talk to people? And so I have the platform of interviewing people on my YouTube channel, but I did not know that it was the podcast platform that you can just post audio only to podcast without showing the whole video. So, but I continue this podcast for that long time. Why? Well, I did it for first year and I was like, this is awesome. I have a chance to talk to so many people, understand about their CPA journey, understand about how they pass a CPA exam, and just also share my experience as well. And again, I love talking to people. So this is a good channel for me to share to express my energy, talking to people, understand to people. However, the benefits I got from this podcast is just priceless. Why? Because first, I have a chance to network to many amazing CPAs, to many amazing leaders. I have a chance to introduce myself to them. And also, not just about networking, I also have a chance to improve my speaking skills. I learn how to continue the conversation. I learn how to start the conversation, how to carry on the conversation when I talk to them on podcast. And last but not least, I learn about career development. I pick up their brains, I pick up their thoughts, their career process, what have they done to be successful as where they are right now. And I'm still very young in my career, and so listening to their stories, it's just so, I would say that priceless again for me. I love using the priceless because you can spend a lot of money going out there, attend your college degrees, attend a lot of lessons, but you cannot obtain this amazing experience talking to all CPAs leaders, all the CPA managers, CEOs, CFOs, sharing their CPA journeys. So that's the reason why I start the CPA Career Path podcast, and also why I keep doing this for such a long time. This CPA Career Path podcast is created to encourage people, encourage high school students, college students, young professional students to consider being a CPA, because a lot of people, they just obtain the accounting degree, but they do not want to be a CPA. So I want to share all different stories to bring different career paths to this young generation, to say that, hey, come to us, become a CPA. We have a lot to share with you. And we are not just a typical accountant. Why? Because listen to my podcast, you will see that we do a lot of amazing things. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster. I couldn't see the timer, so I have no idea if I'm on time or
Yeah,
not.
I asked Kathy Choice to put her hands in. Nobody can see the timer. She is not doing it for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll have about a minute to, what is it, 90 seconds? What do we do? Yes, anyone?
Yes to 90 seconds.
Okay, 90 seconds, please, to send her some thoughts about her speech.
I'm sorry. I missed the beginning of the timing, so I'm not sure how much time it is.
Okay, I think we could move on. I assume we all
Thank
finished
you.
writing.
Thank you.
So we'll go back to our original order. Our next speaker is Shantae, and her evaluator is Harold G. So Harold, tell us about her project.
Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, Shantae will be giving a wonderful speech. While I did not get what path she's on, I'm just going to evaluate her speech using code technique. Fellow Toastmasters.
Okay, she is on visionary communications and writing a speech with a purpose. The title of her speech, Don't Quit, You Are Almost There. So let me just a quick introduction to Shantae. Shantae has been a Toastmaster for 4 years. She initially joined to be a better speaker in the TED Talk arena, but quickly fell in love with Toastmasters organization and leadership. Now she's on a mission to be her mentor, who is present on the road to the international leadership. Shantae brings a wealth of experience and energy to everything she does and is looking forward to an amazing year. Her speech today is all about reasons you should not give up. Please join me in welcoming Program Quality Director Shantae Murray Howard to her speech entitled, Don't Quit, You Are Almost There. Welcome, Shantae.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Don't quit. You are almost there. Did you know that over 90% of people seeking change in their lives will quit before they actually achieve full success? Actually, only a tiny fraction, less than 1 in every 10 people, will actually make it to their goals. We all have this desire to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. Yet even as we crave change, we find ourselves resisting it. We want to be better, but we wrestle with the discomfort that transformation brings. But it is in that discomfort where the magic happens. That's where the journey of self-improvement truly begins, where we begin to shape our best selves. So don't quit. You're almost there. Let me give you an example. This is you. Maybe in life, you had some childhood trauma. Maybe there were judgments from others. Maybe you had self-doubt, those unspoken wounds that you continue to carry. Maybe you hold some outdated beliefs. Maybe you had a struggle with addiction, battles with body image, and all those people that say, you can't do it. This is you. These things are buried deep within you. But as you can see, there is still room to grow. And you want to be better. You want more wealth. You want to be a better person, a better parent. You are hungry for change. So you start to do the work. you start to educate yourself. You pray, you meditate, you journal, you get crystal clear on what your goals are, and you pour goodness into your life. And then something strange starts to happen. You start to feel worse. You think, I'm doing all the right things, so why is all this negativity bubbling up? Well, you see, that is because you are pouring all the good stuff in and you're uprooting the old pain. You're breaking through trauma and you're clearing away outdated beliefs. You are building a solid foundation, one that's strong enough to support the life that you dream of. My friends, this is where half of the people will quit. The pain of confronting old wounds is so overwhelming that many turn back to what they know, their old habits, that toxic ex, that safe job. They convince themselves that maybe they're just not meant for change. But not you. You're not going to quit. You're almost there. So you dig a little deeper. You get a mentor, a life coach. You may even go to therapy. You do whatever it takes to move forward. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. You're cycling through old beliefs and replacing them with new, healthier ones, bit by bit. But as you grow, those issues are still coming up to the surface. The part of you, this part, that wants to shine, that wants to be better, is pushing forward. Yet, unfortunately, here's where 30% of people will quit. The weight of change is so heavy that they end up back where they started, just when they were on the verge of transformation. But you're different. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep believing. You know that what is meant for you is already on its way to you. So you're going to keep pouring into yourself. And then you arrive. You reach the summit. You've poured in all this good stuff. You built a foundation of resilience and courage. You showed up through the hard days, through the moments when it seemed easier just to give up. But there's still some deep-rooted wounds. And even though you've done the work, an additional 10% of people will quit here. They'll have come so close, received blessings, some miracles, but they will allow self-doubt to creep in. The journey they've taken will seem too much to bear. But not you. You're here and you're going to stay. So don't quit. Showing up is the key. Every day won't be perfect. Some days will feel hard. Some days will feel like you're barely hanging on. But you don't have to be a rock star every single day. Just keep showing up, even in the smallest ways. Remember, you've been through the pain. You've overcome the struggles. Don't quit. You're almost there. Keep reaching for the good. Keep pouring in. And one day, you'll find that you've become exactly what you were meant to be. So don't quit. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Shante. So, timer, please have 90 seconds for people to please put some thoughts in your speech for Shante. Our third speaker is Pat Kaysen, and his evaluator is Ray Sweeney. Ray, your floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, fellow Toastmasters. For myself, it's the evening. Tonight, we're going to hear from the master of 8 paths himself, Pat Caslin. Now, who knows? He might have us doing an Irish jig at the end of the speech. This is the motivational strategies path. Level 3, it's an elective speech. Connect with storytelling. 5 to 7 minutes. Now, the purpose of this project is to practice using a story within a speech, or giving a speech that is a story. Prepare to be enthralled. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Let's see. Pat's introduction. Pat is going to tell us, let's see the beginning here. Pat lit a fire under his speaking a few years ago. He's on his 8th path. In doing that, he has had a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts. He thinks it's time to light some new fires, though. And okay, so Pat, your fire is lit. You're on.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today I'm going to try and light the first of a number of fires under myself. You know the idea, and I first heard it from Tamara, that some people act when they see the light, others when they feel the heat. Well, I've seen the light and it's dim and it's at the far end of a tunnel, to use a little expression, but it's not bright enough, and I need to light a fire under myself to get me to go there. And here's the background. A very long time ago, about 10 years ago, I went to a conference and I met a girl who's become a great friend. And one of the ideas I ventured was that it's a bad day you don't have one good insight. And quick as a flash, she said to me, "Do you write them down?" I said, "No." She said, "They gave you a case-bound notebook here, and you should start writing them down." And I did. And I now have 3 of these. You can't see them. 3 of these notebooks. And they're all ideas that have made sense to me and that have come together. And then I started speaking about 5 or 6 years ago, 6 years in Toastmasters. And for all of those speeches, I've spoken on 40 or 50 different topics. And for each one of those, I've put quite a bit of preparation in the kind of things I want to talk about, the counter arguments and all that. And in doing that, I've compiled a set of lever arch folders, about 6 of them, and with ideas and thoughts and different things. And I've also got an Evernote archive of a whole pile of articles I put away saying, that's interesting, I must come back to it. And when I sit down with people, I talk to them about some of these ideas and thoughts that I've come about, and they all say to me, "Pat, you should write a book." And I kind of thought, yeah, I should do that. And that was the light that I've seen. It's at the far end of the tunnel. But for a long time, I struggled with, what's the nature of it? How do I put all these together in some sort of coherent way that makes logical sense, that's worth doing, that might actually be interesting, at least to me to write it, and possibly to my children as a compendium of ideas that I've spoken to them about, maybe to others that find themselves with chronic illness and challenges. And 10 years ago, around that time, I heard this idea from Confucius that says we have 2 lives. Our second one begins when we realize we only have one, and I realized I only have one life. So the first fire I'm lighting is the fire that I'm putting under my feet, the idea that I'm putting my feet to the fire. And I'm putting my feet to the fire by making myself accountable to you, the people that are listening to this, and who are going to come back to me time and time again and say, "Pat, what have you done about that book? Have you got it anywhere? Have you written any chapters?" And the organization that I now see in it is essentially, it's about me, what I've learned about myself. It's about what I've learned about interactions with others. And I have a whole pile of thoughts about the world and other things. So the kind of things, and I think this would be something with lots of short chapters, maybe 20, 30 short chapters on things like, ideas I've had. When you stop doing it, you stop being able to do it. So you've got to struggle a bit to do things. Am I enjoying my health, or am I stressing about my illness. I enjoy my health. You know, that health is a state of mind. It's how you think about what you can do. It's about contentment being natural wealth. It's about the you know, when you add emotion to your problems, you know, you've got two problems. You know, it's changing the way you look at things, and the way things look will change. And each of those might be a chapter. It's about the idea that, you know, don't compare yourself with others. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. This is the part about others. There's no hierarchy of suffering. Mine, if you can look at somebody and say, God, they must suffer terribly, but suffering is how you deal with it. You know, you don't get to choose what happens to you in life. I think I said that one before. Offense is a poison. It's something that I offer you and you can choose to take or not. So it's chapters about how you change the way or how you think about things, models that I might give people to say, if you think about these things in different ways, they will look differently to you. And then one of the other things that I want to talk about is education. And education is, or might talk about as education, but it's an enormous subject, and I don't know that I've got the space of the material to do that. But, you know, between the jigs and the reels, and that expression comes from Irish jigs and Irish reels, between the jigs and the reels, I've started to put this together. I think it's going to take probably a minimum of a year and maybe two. But the other fire that I need to light is the fire in my belly that wants me to do it. And that's the one that hasn't got lit yet. But I think if I put my feet to the fire and I start doing that, and I put myself out there as something that I'm committing to do, well, then I think it's more likely to happen. And I think the fire in my belly will come afterwards. So they're the fires that I want to light. And between the jigs and the reels, maybe I will get to do this. Maybe I'll find the time. Maybe I'll find the discipline. Maybe I'll find the structure within myself to actually get organized to put this together. And maybe it might or might not be worth reading. I hope that it will, at least to my children. So they're the fires that I want to light. The first one's been lit today. The second one, I hope, will ignite spontaneously. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Pat. Usually that's what happens with fires. One fire ignites another fire. That's certainly the way it is, and thank you. That certainly was a great speech. Okay, so we have 90 seconds. Please share your thoughts with Pat about his speech. Thank you, Kathy. Our next segment of our program is table topics, and some of the people who are new here, not that many, we have the SNAP evaluation after each session, which is actually really fun. Our table topic master for this segment is David Thompson. We can't hear you, David. You need to unmute. Okay.
Is that any better?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Good. Well, you may not want to hear much of me, but you need to be awake because I might suddenly ask you to answer a question or to take notes, scribble notes in your head if you like, and be ready with a quick answer. This club is unusual in various ways. The first way is that nobody ever knows what they're going to be asked or when and how. And it may be you. The second thing is the nature of a SNAP evaluation, which I understand it is an evaluation without much preparation. There's no time to prepare it except in your head. So be ready to evaluate any speech that you hear. Now, I wonder if our timer could be enlightened by our president, Sandra, if you may. Sandra, perhaps you could enlighten Kathy and anyone else who's new here, what the timing is for the topic and for the evaluation, please?
The timer is stable topics is 2 minutes.
Okay, and how's that shown?
2 minutes and 30 seconds at the end. And I am always confused. Is the snap evaluation is what, 30 seconds? Sandra, what is it?
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute is the snap evaluation. Okay, there it is. Thank you.
Good. Okay, well, I'd like to start with, now I'm working from two different lists and different amounts of light, so excuse me a moment. Right. Okay, listen carefully. What are you most grateful for in life? What are you most grateful for in life? And that is for Tamara, please.
I'm grateful for the ability to be grateful for many things. I try to never forget to find little pearls of joy every day. And in my mind, I quickly send gratitude for this. It's very important to notice little trifles which make your life happy and worth living. And gratitude is like a magnet. The more grateful you are, the more wonderful things are sent your way. And it's very important, I think, to teach our children and grandchildren to be grateful for different things and not to forget to express this gratitude. It's also very important to be grateful in your heart and to find the ways to express this gratitude. That way, life is really worth living, whatever happens. And sometimes troubles, problems come as blessings in disguise, and you have to figure it out and also be grateful. That's my answer. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Tamara. An evaluation, a snap evaluation just like that. Tamara, please. Sorry, that will be for our president, Sandra, please. Sandra, welcome.
Gratitude, to be able to express gratitude. That is a really good phrase. And it reminds me of a pearl, which you also mentioned, is that the pearls are of joy and to notice things. And then also to be able, the magnet, gratitude is like a magnet. That you use such visual words. And that helped us be part of what you were saying, picture what you were saying, and be able to remember it for a longer length of time. I wish you had smiled a little bit more. And I'm guilty of that a lot because you were talking about a very happy thing. So that was really good. But I really like the visuals and the almost poetic words that you were using, so that it was great. And that's all I have. I just, one other thing is my Sunday school teacher taught me that gratitude is like your bank account. Sure, you're going to be taking money out, but you need to put some back in. And as long as you stay above zero, you're good. So that's what your answer reminded me of as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Now, number 2. I would like to welcome one of our guests, Trudy, to have a go at this question. And the question is...
Trudy is our member.
Trudy is a member, sorry. So, Trudy, would you like to have a go at this? What has life taught you recently? What has life taught you recently?
What have life taught me recently? Thinking back of just what has happened in the West election, that's when my mind went right away. I was terribly disappointed, and knowing that you cannot trust anyone. You may have enemies in your crowd and you don't know who they are. And that's how I see the outcome of the US election as the results coming in. The majority of people who have been mistreated, misguided, have chosen somebody who I believe, maybe many other people believe too, I don't know. But that really doesn't matter. It's my belief that it has been an insult for the world and for also those people who have known to be mistreated by people who really didn't like them of other color, such as white against black. And it has hurt me, it has pained me, and that I found very difficult. Now, I try to pick up my jig and jig around and something different happen as I choose to be happier as I move through life again. And it has come to pass with the choosing of new executives that will see a change in the world. And I say, you choose what you get, but keep jigging around. Things may happen and things may change. Good luck to all of you. And good luck to us. And good luck to the world.
Thank you, Trudy. And to evaluate Trudy in snap style, please could we have Shante, please? Welcome to Shante, if she's indeed here.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. And thank you, Trudy. I completely can emphasize with where you are in your state and in your feelings. And I loved that you ended with that you were going to jig around in order to kind of de-stress and remove yourself from the pains of the world. What I would love to see from you is maybe actually doing a little bit of the jigging, right? Like, you know what? I understand that these things are happening in the world, but I'm seeing a brighter day. Smile when you say that. Talk about something that makes you smile. Let us see that even though we have these pains, we have these stressors. Yes, we have 4 years of this, whether you're here for it or against it, but I'm going to see the brighter future. I'm going to smell the flowers. I'm going to dance. I'm going to listen to my favorite songs. I'm going to drink good wine. I'm going to eat good food. I'm going to spend time with my family and friends. That's what I would love to see from you, is just that energy of show us the jig and not just say it. But I thought it was great, and I thank you for your words. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
Thank you very much. Great. Okay, now I'd like to hear the answer to this question from Rosie, please. Rosie, the question is, if I can read my own handwriting, is, what do you most want to achieve in life?
She is not here anymore.
Oh, she's slipped away already. Okay, good. Well, this is one for Harold, please. Harold, what do you most want to achieve in life? What do you most want to achieve in life?
Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, thank you for that question, Mr. Table Topics Master. What do I want to achieve most in life? I want to make a meaningful contribution. Of course, I would like to have happiness, prosperity. Yeah, that's a wide-ranging question. It's broad. and I want to be a small achiever and also a large achiever. Point is to be in action and be achieving every day. Every day trying to set goals and go after them and fulfill them, to be passionate about these goals, feel them, and to feel and try to make a contribution to help other people. That's a big deal. I like to help other people, and I like to be of service to other people. And I like my life to be of service. And what I would like to achieve, oh, fellow Toastmasters, oh, I know you're not going to like this. I want to be rich. Now, yes, I got it out of the way. You know my secret. Okay, I told you. Yes, I like to be rich and well-to-do. But also, I like to help the poor and help homeless children, homeless women. I like to help that. But I know what you're saying now since I told you my secret. With that wealth, I would help other people and help myself and educate myself to become a better speaker, to become a better reader, and also to be a source of inspiration. Yes, I want to help and inspire others. Be relentless. Yes, I'll be slapped down, but I'll get up. Go after it. I'll be resilient and relentless, ever striving, ever achieving. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Harold. And what did you make of it, Ray? Please, Ray, to evaluate that.
Finally, someone admitting the truth. Congratulations, Harold. Well done for saying it. We all want to be rich. We all know it. We're all just hiding it deep down. I love the way you brought the humour into the table topic. My takeaway for you is perhaps start it at the beginning. Break the ice with all of us. Get us laughing at the start. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Ray. Okay, my next question is for Pamela. Pamela, how about this? What is the one thing you would most like to change in the world? What is the one thing you would most like to change in the world?
Thank you very much, Master Table Topic Master, for that. There was one thing that I'd like to change. That is the inability for others to see others' perspectives. What that means is I'd like to actually change our DNA so that we listen to others and seek to understand, and we're able to separate our own viewpoint so that we can connect to others easily. And I know many of us here do that naturally, that we see other people's perspectives and are empathetic. But if I could change the entire DNA from the world, that we would first choose to see the other person's perspective before our own. And I believe that that could bring world peace. Because if we can see where the other person is coming from, we won't snap at our husbands when we think they were just being a jerk by not doing the dishes, or we won't snap at our children for just being rude. We might see that they had a bad day, or we might see that our neighbors clearly thought that their border of their property was just fine and that they had every right to tell us we need to cut down our tree. If we can just start to see other people's perspectives first, and then the other ones will see ours, I believe that would be an incredible world to live in. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Pamela. And for the evaluation, please, one of the Johns. It will be John Graham, please.
You know, Pamela, I think you did really well in terms of tying things together. I'd like to begin with your smile, your presence is really good. I'd like to see even more of that. But talking about others and connecting them first and tie in with world peace. And that takes us back into the politics and things like that we were talking about being so depressed about earlier. And talking about yourself, I think, when you're saying that you like to see other people first and help people as you can, connecting to others. I see you as a connector. I like all of those things that you put into your presentation there. And you certainly did a little jigging around. So I enjoyed that too. So back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Good. Thank you, John. Right. The next question is, what impact do you most want to have on the world? What impact do you most want to have on the world? And that is for Michael, please.
Okay, I love a simple question. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I found this thing that I put onto my phone recently, and it's kind of big in its scale and kind of manageable in my own ability to affect this change. And with your indulgence from someone who isn't normally a prayer, this is one that goes something like this. God, give me the strength and direction to do the right thing, no matter what the consequences may be. Help me to consider others and not harm them in any way. Help me to consult with others before I take any actions that would cause me to be sorry. Help me not to repeat such behaviors. Show me the way of patience, tolerance, kindliness, and love, and help me live a spiritual life. And some days, that seems really hard to say amen right afterwards. But here I am saying it out loud in all my imperfection, hoping for a little progress on that. And if I can get people to feel that energy, then I'll call that some kind of global impact, or at least a start. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Now we need somebody to speak out loud with his evaluation, and I would like to hear from Ray, please. Welcome, Ray.
David, would you like to give somebody else a try who hasn't spoken? Maybe.
I've got plenty of other people on the line lining up. So.
Well, we have our guests today, Charisma and Joan.
Yeah.
Let's take Joan, please. Joan, Joan, would you like to give us your evaluation within a couple of minutes?
Sure, thank you.
1 minute.
1 minute, I understand. Thank you. I'm sorry, I lost your name, the speaker.
Michael.
Michael. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate your answer to that question. What impact do you most want to make? And I do love the prayer that you prayed. I thought you were going to go with the serenity prayer that most people know, but this one was so much more impactful to me. And if we can learn to accept things that we cannot change and learn to impart empathy to others, I think we would have a better world. I think that impact would be great on the world. I like the way you put it in the prayer and read the prayer so that we could get the full effect of it. And then you wrapped it up with your ending. I thought your presentation was excellent, especially that it was impromptu. And I think that you would make a great impact on the world with that attitude to live a spiritual life. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Joan, and a very great welcome to this club. Among you, I think you said 23 years in Toastmasters. Might have been 33, but anyway, you're very welcome to join us. Thank you. That's the end of the table topics. We must push on to the next stage. Madam Topics, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you, David. This was really a great session, questions and evaluations. And now we are going to have our third part of our meeting, and that's evaluation. And let's welcome our general evaluator, John White.
Thank you very much, Judith. I can't believe it. The gig is up and I was not asked a table topic or a snap one. Anyway, we are now moving on to the evaluation portion. I'll just have them evaluate based on the order that's on the agenda. So we're going to have Harold G. be the evaluator, please, for our first speaker, which is Shantae Howard.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and particularly Shantae Howard, who gave the presentation titled, "Do Not Quit, You're Almost There." Shantae gave a wonderful presentation. Her voice quality was excellent. She set the tone, the speech up well. She began by saying 90% of people do not arrive at their goal, their setting. She had a visual that was quite impressive. She had a picture, and she was putting in various difficulties people have in life, and dropped these little balls in, and these were the various wounds of life. She goes on to say, we're hungry for change. Now notice Shantae speaks well. Voice quality is very soothing. She looked as if she was reading, but I would say this, Shantae really is quite an artist. She could have used her voice in such a way to indicate emotion. When we want something, we have a kind of a desperation in the voice, a passion, red colors right there. She can, as an artist, use bright red. And then when we make mistakes, we can have setbacks, a little blue, and we learn from these setbacks. And also, we strive again and go more, but we have wounds. We have wounds from childhood. We have wounds from adulthood. Our girlfriend didn't like us. That can be a wound. Okay. The whole point I'm trying to point out, while Shantae spoke well and told you and provided an actual visual for you to teach you about what wounds are, and added water, the positive elixir, to help remove these wounds, to overcome them. And finally, the picture was full. I thought she could have used her voice in such a way to show emotion, passion. Oh, that's right. Show some passion. People just don't go through things without feeling things and being hurt and ask themselves various questions. I mean, you'll say that you try to uproot certain things. You look at yourself and say, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be like that anymore. And then all of a sudden, you're right back where you think you were before. And so many people are so close to reaching their goals, as she's pointed out using her wonderful visual, but they don't succeed. They get lost. Their old wounds, old handicaps overwhelm them. The speech was terrific. I enjoyed it, and it was inspirational. Mr. Toastmaster.
You can call me General Evaluator.
Oh, pardon me, Mr.
What a
General
voice.
Evaluator.
What an instrument. My goodness, Harold. It's just wonderful. We move on to our second evaluator, Ray. He's LD5 and he'll be evaluating Pat Caslin, right?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and thank you, Pat, for what was a sensational speech this evening. And after 8 paths, he really is showing us the way to deliver. I like the way you set it up. You told us about the schedule and what we're going to hear and in what order. The value of Toastmasters and how to utilize it. So that was our takeaway. We were given such descriptive language by yourself, peppered with jigs and reels, throwing in the Dr. Wayne Dyer quote, change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change. We had so many pearls of wisdom, we were setting the house on fire. I had to write them all down. I'm sure you guys in the audience did also. He recapped on his 50 speeches and the ideas surrounding that and encouraged us to put pen to paper, to take accountability of yourself, to preview the book that you know that's inside you. I love your style. I love your delivery. It's like a fireside chat. Lilted Irish tones in your voice. You talked about education, the fire in my belly. I'm putting my feet into the fire. Well, my message to you, Pat, is the finest steel has to go through the hottest fire. So when we have a great speech, how do we elevate it even higher, up through the trees in this forest? Firstly, let us say you shared with us, well, maybe I need to spend more time. Maybe I need discipline. Maybe I need fire. Well, I would challenge you to turn that I into a we and share it with the audience. Encourage the audience and empower your audience. How would you need to use your time? How would you need to be more disciplined? Secondly, vocal variety. You have that lovely Irish lilt. Now, I would encourage you to just change it slightly. Maybe go to the second person perspective and add some highs and some lows and bring us in closer. So we have to really listen in and lean to what you're saying. And thirdly, share that moment where your fire went out completely. Connect with us emotionally. Bring us in. So in summary, what we witnessed tonight that set us ablaze, and as a famous poet from the Emerald Isle, William Butler Yeats said, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Well, Pat, all I can say is you certainly turned up the temperature tonight and you left us toasted. Back to you, John.
It must have been a good evaluation. Did I see Pat smile and give the American thumbs up? My goodness. We know who Pat's favorite evaluator is for the moment, but we move on to yet another famous evaluator. Mr. Michael Schaefer, DTM, will be evaluating Rosie Flaherty. I don't know if Rosie's here, but we record this, so she'll get it one way or the other. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and I am doing a jig because I'm so happy that I can talk about Rosie while she's not here. Let's tear it apart. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually going to refer to an alternate definition of jig a little bit in the middle of my evaluation, but let's talk about what we loved. Clarity. The orientation of what the speech was going to be talking about right up at the top. And then shortly after that, a demonstration of the resume that she had, her experience in doing what she's been doing with podcasting and her ability as a CPA. Always when Rosie speaks, and I've seen her do it live too, the energy, the vocal variety, one of the most dynamic CPAs I've ever seen in my client base. I've dealt with a lot of people that were analysts and in the IT world, and Rosie is a dynamic speaker. I love it. She also talked about the benefits of what podcasting has meant to her in terms of networking, speaking skills, and career development. She used a lot of hand gestures. There's always that shine of intelligence when she speaks, and gave us some of the core whys of why she's here, why she likes the podcast even today. What would I do to mention to her and to a lot of the speakers today is talk about story. One of the emails that she sent me this week was that she wanted to become a better storyteller. And this situation is ripe for storytelling. And if you open your mouth, you should be telling a story. That's one person's opinion and not a story. But so what am I doing? Here's the idea. I was looking at my emails at the beginning of my story, and I saw that under the objectives for this speech, one of the last ones says this speech should not be a report on the content of the podcast project. And this speech was exactly what that was not supposed to be. That's okay. She's got the right to take a left turn. But if she's already got all those podcasts in the bank, why not edit 3 of them down and let them play for us so we can hear 3 specific concrete examples? An example is a short version of a story. So we hear a moment of illumination of a student who's got questions, whatever it is, to illustrate her points, and then let it all sink in, because this call to action that she gave us or could give us is to use this moment and any moment to help foster people moving into the CPA world as students. Why not take this moment and create that with examples, with story, with a personal moment where she really talked about the beginning, the middle, and the end, the 4 times that the woman asked her to come and help, and finally getting to a place where she said, okay, I'll do it. Then we get the passion underneath of why the podcast means so much to her. Tell stories. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I've been asked to ask the evaluators, if you could forward your written evaluations to all your speakers, that would be very helpful. We're now moving on to the functionary report. Trudy, as our word grammarian.
Just unmute. Yes, I am your grammarian for today, and I've listened carefully. Basically, this club speaks very well. Just the accents are a little bit different, just like mine, but it was well understood. Not much in between there that I can talk about, but I have jotted down some sayings that people said that can stay with us, and also the word jig that was used. And Michael, forget to do the different version of jig. So you did use the word. So I'll give the person to use the word jig. Ray Sweeney used it twice. If you use it more, tell me I'm wrong. Pat Caslin used it twice. Shantae used it once. I used it once. John Graham used it once. John White once. And Michael Shaver used it once without his extra explanation. You probably can give it to us later. Things that I jot down that probably you can try and think about who said what as the speakers were speaking. I would put these questions to you, and you probably can tell me from listening and quick recalling, because you need to be able to register it in your head who has said what. And it's kind of difficult, but yeah. Putting my feet to the fire. Who said that?
Pat Caslin.
Pat Caslin. And room to grow. Who said that one? Room to grow. Give you room to grow.
Shantae?
Shantae. Wow,
Hey,
your
yeah.
memory really good. And another one. Let me go a bit further. Learn about career processes. Learn about career processes. That's an easy one.
Rosie?
Rosie, that's right. Rosie said that. I'm amazed at the memory of you guys. I don't know if I can do it myself like you. A dynamic speaker. That was one of the last things we heard. Michael, yes. Somebody who loves to be rich.
Harold.
Yeah. And use a voice to show emotion and passion.
Okay.
Ray, the Pat.
Harold.
Yeah, Harold
In
said
his
it.
evaluation, he used that. He used that to Shantae. Yeah. Thought that was beautiful. And what else do I have here? Psych.
Trudy, we have to move on. I'm sorry.
Just hold on for a second. A fireside chat. Who said that during one of their speeches?
Pat said that, didn't he?
Pat said that. Pat said that. That's right. Yes, you can move on to one of your speeches. Being a grammarian, I find, is quite interesting, but also very difficult, especially for this club, because the club has really, really great speakers. Amazing.
You did a great job, Trudy, and I'm saddened that your gig is up. So, but you can come back and be working.
But you say you said your gig, so you said one more. She said twice.
No, I think same for
up.
the content, not the use of
Yeah.
the word today. Anyway,
Okay.
my general evaluation is what a blessing and a gift it was to have 3 speeches today. Not something we always have. Different topics, but similar inspirational themes of don't give up and light the fire and somehow be motivated. And even an accountant can be motivated to do a podcast. So I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I do like Michael's point to always find a story or a personal connection. Not to call anyone out, but on one speech, I thought this was great, but I've seen your earlier version of a different speech, and it was about your story coming from back east to here, and then you incorporated the concept and it was seamless. Anyway, always make it about you and a story so that you can connect to your audience. I really like that. Areas that we could improve on, I like when we use the backgrounds, if we could all use it. I also like seeing people's faces. Seems like some people just don't like to show that. I'd encourage us to do that. Also, the background sometimes can be distracting if you don't use a master evaluation background. So just work on that. We want the attention on you and your message, not on distracting background. The other thing I would say is on the prepare where we're reading, let's prepare and rehearse. I know that I've taken great pride in some of my introductions, and there's a whole range of how these introductions are handled. Some like English as a first language, others like, oh my God, that was better than I ever thought it would be. So let's just try to practice so that we deliver it the way these folks want to be introduced. And I think that is the end of it. Oh, another concept, which I think maybe Joan showed, but mentioned once, this notion of a bank account and always making deposits into it in whatever facet of your life, whether it's your career, working with others. I like this notion with gratitude of always making deposits, and that's always there during the tough times when it's hard to find gratitude or when you're just a little down, that bank account could be there to serve you. So with that, I would turn it back to our Toastmaster today, distinguished Toastmaster Judith Ferber.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It certainly were great speeches of gratitude. Then I just want to end this with one quote that I have learned in my last week and a half of my grief, is that gratitude is the ability to experience life as a gift. I am certainly working on this. And it liberates us from self-preoccupation, which I am also working on pretty much daily. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Oh, there is one more thing. We were talking about elections and all this different thing. There's one Vietnamese proverb that I really liked. So when eating the fruit, remember the one who planted the tree. That's always a good thought. What happens to all these people who may not pick those wonderful fruits that's behind me? Thank you so much. And back to you, or Sandra, our president, Sandra Savage.
Thank you, Judith. We have a couple more things to take care of, but before we do, I'd like to ask our 2 guests today. I don't like the question, what did you think of our meeting? Because it looks like you're asking for a compliment. I'd rather hear what you found most valuable today. Joan, are you still with us?
I am. What did I find most valuable?
Mm-hmm.
I found the evaluations of the table topics most valuable. because it causes people to listen more closely and express themselves, where there seems in other clubs that I have belonged to, people are reluctant to give evaluations. And this is kind of an easy step forward in that direction. That's what I got out of this meeting. That's one of the things I got out of this meeting, along with the great speeches and the great evaluations. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Joan. And our other guest today, Charisma, is that correct spelling, saying?
She had to go, so she logged off.
Thank you. What did you get the most out of today? What did you learn?
She left. She had to leave.
Good. Okay, thank you. All right, well, the last thing I want to do is, again, thank you for coming today, and let's set ourselves up for a great meeting in 2 weeks by filling up our agenda.
Oh, the president, excuse me, Sandra?
Yes?
Joan Lewis is very famous for the term "get fired up." When she was the leader of Toastmasters, she would use this term. She'd have everyone would use that term, even when she was out of office. They were still saying, "Let's get fired up," And I mean, she was very good about that. So, I mean, Joan Lewis made an indelible imprint on many people's minds.
Excellent. Okay, let's get fired up for December 6th. Okay, well, that concludes filling up next week's schedule. To the club officers, I wanted to remind you that we have our meeting next Friday at same station, same bat time, same bat station. And we'll be talking about what we'll be doing in the year 2025. And with that, I'm going to close out our meetings. I know we're all starting to get super busy with TLIs and COTs and all those other things.
You almost finished on time.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Trying my best. So thank you very much, and we'll see you all again in 2 weeks. Same, as I said, same Zoom channel, and have a great weekend. Thank you.